Hello and welcome back, my friends. Well, it's almost February. Can you believe it? I told you time was going to be flying by. The question is, are you getting ahead of the game this year? Have you begun getting your garden prepared? Are you getting your seeds started, at least on order? Well, my friends, time is of the essence. And I've got another gardening tip for you today that's going to help you to get growing quickly, efficiently, and at a very low cost. So here we are over at my makeshift potting bench. It's actually just the perfect size for me right here. And I made this out of a pallet atop some cinder blocks, and it's working out just beautifully. Having yourself a potting bench is going to really help you stay comfortable, keep things ergonomic while getting your seeds started and up potting your seedlings. So I highly recommend setting up a little workspace to help you streamline your operation. So what I want to share with you today is starting your seeds and your cuttings in a medium of sand. Now this is just construction or play sand that's been washed free of salts. You can pick this stuff up very cheap at the big box stores, and it'll state right there on the package that it's been washed. From there, it's all about making yourself a container with some drainage holes on the bottom, which I'm going to share with you how I put these together, and then you can get to planting. You can see here we've got some little artichoke starts that I planted in here from seed. And not only have they popped up, they look quite healthy. And they're about ready now to be up potted into a small 4-inch pot. Over here I've got some snap peas. Same thing. I had a little bit extra after seeding some of my flats, so I just threw them here in the sand, and you can see they're sprouting up beautifully. And just a few weeks ago, I plopped in some of my tree collard and tree kale plants that I took cuttings from into this little container of sand. And I believe now we've got some roots. We're gonna dig some of these up and see what we got. But these are also ready for up potting. But before I dig up some of these and share with you the root development on these plants, I want to share with you how to quickly put together your own seed starting container. So I recommend heading out to your local dollar store, discount store, and finding whatever plastic container you can that will work. Now I prefer a more shallow container when starting seeds, although I start cuttings in these all the time, but you could go a little bit deeper for containers you want to start cuttings in. Now one of the benefits to using a more shallow container, obviously, you use less sand. So this is just a simple oil drain pan, and we're just going to poke a few holes in here, and then we're going to cover it with a bit of screen. And the way I do this is I just have a cheap soldering iron here, and I poke 3 holes in the bottom, just like that. And I've got a roll of screen. I just cut out a square here, and all I need is just a little piece to cover up those holes so that the container doesn't turn into an hourglass, and when that sand becomes dry, it just pours out of the bottom. So just using a pair of tin snips here, I'm going to cut myself a strip of this screen material, and I'm actually going to cut this in half so that I can overlay the 2 pieces to get an even smaller opening. If I did just 1 piece of screen, some sand could still fall out of here, but by laying down 2 pieces of screen, those holes get crisscrossed and become even smaller, so I found that works great. Now I used to tape these in place with a little bit of Gorilla Tape, and you can do that, but I found it's really not necessary. Once I put my sand in here, it weights it down and holds it in place. And that's all there is to it. This container's ready to go. Let's go fill it with some sand. Alright, so what I did is I bought several bags of sand, and I just placed it here in this little plastic tote just for convenience. Makes it easy to scoop some out whenever I need it. And just using an ice scoop, I can easily fill my container. And this sand got rained on a bit, that's why it's wet. But that's okay, because I have some drainage holes in that tub as well. So why is it that sand works for starting seeds and cuttings? Well, in the early stages of a seed, when it begins to sprout and root, as well as when cuttings begin to root, nutrition still isn't yet essential, but rather the plant is just looking for the perfect environment to begin to root out And once those roots grow, then it begins to reach out for the nutrients. So let's turn our attention now to these tree kale and tree collard cuttings that I simply cut off my plants and stuck in some sand, and see if we got some root development now. Oh yeah, check it out. I'm going to rinse this off so you can get a better look. So we have some beautiful root development here. Some of you may be asking, well, why not just start these cuttings in soil? Well, you can go ahead and do that, but you could have some different issues arise, such as an infestation of fungus gnats, which is easy enough to deal with, but with sand, the top layer becomes dry on the surface before down below, and this helps to repel and stop fungus gnats from laying their eggs, which hatch into larvae and then begin to eat the roots of your small and tender plants. Another benefit is time savings. So by having a little container like this ready, I can go and plop some cuttings in a matter of about a minute, set it aside, and come back to it later. Sometimes that's very important, especially if you're doing a lot of seeding and cuttings during a short amount of time, which a lot of us gardeners do because there's a season involved. So for now, I'm going to stick this back in to its little place, but these are ready for up potting. And let's take a look at another one over here. Oh yeah, we got some more roots here as well. Very nice, just like the other cutting. Ready for up potting. Another benefit to using sand over soil is that you can reuse this medium time and time again. This is probably the 5th or 6th time that I've used this tray of sand to grow out plants. So there can be a tremendous cost savings to this whole technique as well. Now let's dig up one of these artichokes here and see what we got. You can feel the resistance down here. There's a rather larger root system. Look at that. Nice, healthy root system, ready to be up potted, transplanted into some potting mix to grow out into a fully mature food producing crop. And when it comes time to up pot, I love using these 4-inch square pots. They balance easy on a table. You can get lots of these going, and by the time this is fully engulfed with roots, it's ready to get plugged into the garden with very little risk of losing the plant to pests and insects. So there you have it, my friends, another quick and easy way to get growing on the cheap and obtain results just like the pros. And I'm going to be utilizing this technique to get a bunch of cuttings started. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.